Okay, dear students, shall we start with the lecture?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
good
sir.
morning, everybody. Welcome to this lecture on laminar airflow units. I think yesterday we have quite seen some introductory aspects of the laminar airflow. I told you about what it is, the construction of the laminar airflow cabinet, advantages. We have seen the two different important types of laminar airflow cabinets, the horizontal one and the vertical one. And then we have also seen how these devices are used, okay, how we operate them, how we clean them. And I have also told you about how to know whether the instrument is working properly or not. That is to say, how to validate the device, okay, how to validate the instrument. So today we are going to see another important aspect, and that is about biosafety cabinets and the different biosafety levels, because these are required in certain facilities or industries where they carry out microbiology related work, or even tissue culture work. It may be plant tissue culture or it may be animal tissue culture. For animal tissue culture especially, we require to take a lot of precautions. Lot of safety measures are required to be taken, because animal tissue, as you know, may harbor some pathogenic organisms which may directly or indirectly influence the humans. Okay, and therefore a lot of safety measures need to be taken. Can you see that screen, biosafety cabinets and biosafety levels?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So these devices, biosafety cabinets, are required in order to prevent the exposure of operating staff. Okay, so there are two things which are important. The operating staff must be protected. Okay, whosoever is working in the laminar airflow unit, okay, working with microbiological cultures or whatever material, it may be animal tissue culture material or plant tissue culture material. So the person who is using, the person who is working should be protected, one thing, and also the material which is being used, okay, in the laminar airflow cabinet, that material also should be protected from any possible contamination, isn't it? So these are two important things which must be protected. Then depending upon the type of application, we have different types of biosafety cabinets. We are going to see one by one the biosafety cabinets, and we are also going to see the biosafety levels which are maintained in any facility, okay, any microbiological facility, or in the industrial setting, I would say. What is the type of the requirement which is there in the industry? Okay. I'll go to the next slide directly. And there is something which I have written in bold here. All biohazard cabinets or biohazard hoods must be subject to a strict maintenance program. That is to say, the instruments must be validated, whether they are working properly or not. That should always be ensured, and they should be maintained properly. Okay, so that it should not happen that a person is very confident that the device is working properly when it is not working properly, and that would actually directly affect the person who is using that facility, isn't it? And therefore strict maintenance is very much essential. Okay, let us come to this, what I have written here, BSL, that is biosafety level number 1. Okay, biosafety level 1. So this is ordinary kind of a setting, ordinary routine microbiology practice, you would say, where minimal protection is required. It is especially when we know that whatever cultures we are handling in the laboratory, these cultures are not going to be pathogenic. Okay, so we are sure that the cultures that we are using are in a way they are harmless, and therefore we need not take too much precautions. Okay, and therefore I have written here minimal protection is required. Okay, so whenever minimal protection is required, we operate the biosafety level 1. Okay, or we are working in a facility which is called which is maintained at biosafety level number 1. Okay, and here what we have for transferring the cultures or working with the material, we have a simple open bench. Okay, or it may be a simple cabinet. Like for example, in any microbiology department, you might have worked in your colleges. Okay, so there you have an open bench where you are working. Okay, or you may have a simple cabinet which may not even have laminar airflow. Okay, simple cabinet. Maybe you might have studied about the Tyndall's apparatus. Okay, Tyndall's apparatus is like a simple cabinet where you do not really have a laminar airflow, and you may also have a cabinet with a laminar airflow, depending upon your own way of working. Okay, but then even if it doesn't have laminar airflow, then it necessarily depends upon your good microbiological skills or your techniques. Okay, where you are ensuring that you do not get contamination, or you are not going to spoil your own material, your media. Okay, and then this kind of work is done in a specially designed, specially defined area, of course. Okay, so you cannot work anywhere or in any laboratory which is not a microbiology laboratory. You definitely work in a microbiology laboratory, and you can label that laboratory as a tissue culture facility or a microbiology laboratory, and this will have biosafety level 1 conditions applied to it. So what are the conditions that I'm going to tell you a little later? But before that, let me tell you that we use a horizontal airflow cabinet. Okay, horizontal laminar airflow cabinet. If required, we may use it. And this particular cabinet is also called as a class 1 cabinet. Okay, class 1 biosafety cabinet. Now let me tell you about what are the different essential features of the biosafety level 1. So the conditions in which a person is working, if it is biosafety level 1, then it will mean that certain necessary things should be there in that particular facility. So what are the necessary things that I'm going to tell you? One important thing is that the access is limited. That is, many people or different people are not allowed to enter that particular facility. Okay, of course, there is a restriction who will enter that facility, who will work over there. That is defined, and no other outside person especially is going to enter that particular work area. Okay, especially when the work is in progress, especially when somebody is working with microbiological cultures or something, then you won't allow an outsider to come and visit that facility while you are working. Okay, then there has to be control against insect and rodent infestation. What is rodent? What is the meaning of this word? Rodent?
So rats and mouse.
Yes. Rats, mice. Okay, so these pests are going to spoil many things. Okay, they may also cause contamination. The insects especially will cause contamination, and therefore there has to be a strict measure to control the pests in that particular laboratory. Okay, then the bench surface, wherever you are working, the platform, okay, should be impervious. That is to say, it should not allow any material to get to adhere to the surface. Okay, or to enter into the surface where it may stay for a long time, and then it may result in contamination of your material. Okay, so bench surface must be smooth, it should be polished, and then it should also be very easy to clean the surface. And not only that, but if you are having instruments or certain material placed on the bench, okay, then it should be easy to clean between the instruments. Okay, then lab coat should be worn. Okay, I think in your microbiology practicals, okay, in your FY or TY BSc, because of the pandemic, are we all back? Can you see?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you see that slide? Features of BSL1.
Yes, sir.
So I was telling you that even if you haven't got ample opportunity to work in the laboratory, at least in the first year BSc, you have worked in your microbiology laboratory. And at that time, I believe that you might have worn your aprons, isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So you,
Yes,
you are
yes,
you
sir.
are wearing lab coats or apron, and that is essentially required if you are working in a microbiology laboratory, even if it is a simple kind of a setting where we have biosafety level 1 applied. You are supposed to wear the lab coats. Okay. And then your teachers might have told you not to eat or drink water in the laboratory. Okay, so this is very important. And you are also not supposed to do mouth pipetting. I do not know whether you were doing mouth pipetting in the laboratory, but the laboratory in the colleges is not very well equipped. I know that, and you might have been required to do mouth pipetting at certain times. But usually, when it is a biosafety level 1, then you are not supposed to do mouth pipetting. You are supposed to use the pipette men instead. Okay, so for pipetting purpose, there is a particular small device which is fitted on your pipette, and then you can use that device to suck a liquid. Okay, pull a liquid or dispense a liquid somewhere. Okay, so that is very important. And then you are supposed to wear gloves in your hands, and also you have to protect your eyes. You can use goggles, okay, or eyeglasses to protect your eyes. And then there should be a sink for washing the hands in the laboratory itself, so you do not have to go outside, or you do not have to go to the washroom for washing your hands. And then even if your windows are openable, they should have screens so that dust will not come inside because of the breeze which may be flowing. And then there should be disinfectant availability. This again, you might have experienced that in your laboratory. You might have been using Dettol or any such disinfectant. Have you used a disinfectant?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir.
That also is very important because that will be used to clean your work surfaces, and it might also be it can also be used to clean certain materials. Okay. And then the work surface must be cleaned with the disinfectant, or it should be decontaminated at least once per day. And if you have experienced this in your laboratory, then you might have cleaned your surface with the disinfectant whenever you were working in the laboratory. Okay, just before the work, you clean the surface with the disinfectant, and then you start working. Okay, so these are all the most of the things you know already, but there may be something which is new here. So you have to know about that. And then if you are using in the biosafety level 1, then and if you are using a laminar airflow cabinet, then this laminar airflow cabinet should be a class 1 type of a biosafety cabinet. So what are the essential features of this kind of a laminar airflow cabinet? That is written here on the slide. Firstly, there is a small front opening. Okay, the front of the cabinet can be opened. There is a door which can be you can slide the door up or up and down. Okay, or there could be hinges. Okay, so you can open up the door. And then this cabinet is used especially for media preparation, and it is used for handling cell lines. If it is animal tissue culture facility, then you can handle non-primate cell lines in this kind of a laminar airflow cabinet. And it also can be used for routine microbiology work. Okay. This is also equipped with a UV light. I think we have already seen that earlier. And it is usually a horizontal airflow system. Okay, you don't need a vertical airflow cabinet for the biosafety level 1 and for the class 1 laminar airflow cabinet. Okay, horizontal is good enough. That is because the operator need not be protected because of the fact that whatever material you are handling, you know that it is not going to have any pathogens associated with it. Okay, so you are not handling pathogenic bacteria, and therefore horizontal airflow cabinet is good enough for this kind of work. Okay, so these are some of the pictures I have here to show you about how the class 1 laminar airflow cabinet looks like. Okay, so if you look at this gray portion here, which I'm showing with the cursor, okay, this square or rectangle, Okay, that is where the HEPA filter is placed. Okay, and therefore the air is flowing from the back of the cabinet to the front. Okay, the air is coming on the face of the operator, and as I told you, the lid should be brought down to cover the face of the operator, so that even if there are no pathogens, why should we take the risk, isn't it? So the air should not directly blow on the person's face. Is that okay? Then we go to the next level, which is called as biosafety level 2. And we are going to understand this, that this particular facility is there to offer low level of protection against potentially infectious organisms. So if you feel that your material might contain potentially infectious organisms, you are not sure about it, but there is a slight doubt in the mind that, okay, there might be pathogenic organisms associated with the samples, and you are going to use or you are going to handle potentially infectious organisms, then you are going to use you are going to have or maintain biosafety level 2. And in this biosafety level 2, again, you are going to use not going to use a very sophisticated kind of a laminar airflow cabinet, but you can do well with the class 1 biosafety cabinet or laminar airflow system. Okay. But in the biosafety level 2, there are certain things which are important. Okay, especially if it is animal tissue culture laboratory, or if it is microbiology kind of work, then these cabinets must be housed in non-restricted area, but which require restricted access. Okay, so even if the laboratory as such may have different people working together, okay, but the laminar airflow system is kept in such a place that not all people will be allowed to go to that particular area. Okay, so that is called as restricted access. Only the authorized personnel is going to go near that area, near the laminar airflow cabinet, and actually use it. Okay, then there is one thing again which is very important, and there is the waste disposal must be controlled. Okay, whatever waste is generated in that laboratory, that waste cannot be just thrown away as it is. Okay, but it should be properly disposed using the norms. Okay, taking certain precautions. You should always label them as biohazard material. Okay, and this hazardous material should be disposed very, very carefully. Okay, then protective clothing must be worn by the people, by the person who is going to work in this facility. And again, there is no provision for any food or drink in that area. Okay, the persons who are going to work in this facility, they should be immunized properly, right? And hazard warnings, post hazard warnings should always be there. There should be, for example, stickers or small posters which tell you about what precautions should be taken in the laboratory. Okay, then in-house decontamination is there. What is the meaning of in-house decontamination? Whatever material is going to be used, okay, after the use of the material, even the apron, the gloves, or if you are using a face mask, all this material should be decontaminated within the facility itself. It should not go outside that facility. Okay, sterilization, for example, or autoclaving of this material must be done within the facility. Even laundering, for example, if you are wearing apron, then the apron, after the use of the apron should be autoclaved, it should be sterilized, and then it should be laundered. Okay, ironing, for example, and that should be done within the facility itself. The material doesn't go out of that biosafety level. Okay, and then if at all there is any spillages, if there are any spillages or small accidents, then there should be written reports. Okay, everything should be reported to the higher authority. The authority should know that some problem had taken place, because if at all it leads to some other problem, if there are some infections which are spreading, then the authorities should know why that happened. Okay, and therefore there should be written reports about everything, every spillage which may take place in that biosafety level. Is it clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
If anybody doesn't understand, you can immediately ask me question. You can interrupt me in between. Okay, no problem at all. Okay, don't think how you can disturb me or something like that. Okay, you can disturb me, you can ask me questions. Disturb me in the sense that you are not going to make any noise there. Okay, with unessential discussion we don't want. But if it is essential, then of course you can discuss with me, you can ask me questions. Okay, then we go to biosafety level so 3. So what we have seen is in biosafety level number 2, we have some restriction there, some kind of control is necessary. And we are using here the laminar airflow cabinet number 1 in biosafety level 2. Okay, but when we go to biosafety level 3, then some more kind of protection is required here. And we are not going to use the normal laminar airflow cabinet number 1, but here we are going to use the class 2 cabinet. Okay, class 2 biohazard hood or class 2 biosafety cabinet is what we are going to use here. Okay, so this is essentially a vertical type of laminar airflow cabinet. Okay, just remember this. For biosafety level 3, we use a vertical laminar airflow cabinet. This is called as a class 2 cabinet. Okay, because there are certain features, some additional features associated with this kind of a laminar airflow cabinet. Now, this particular cabinet is housed in a tissue culture facility, which is essentially a restricted area, and it also requires restricted access. So you cannot keep the class 2 biosafety cabinet anywhere in the laboratory. Okay, you are going to keep it only at a very specific location, which is a restricted area. No unauthorized persons will be allowed to enter that particular area. Okay, and only authorized persons are going to actually carry out work in that facility and in that laminar airflow cabinet. Okay, then like before, we have seen the control of waste disposal is there. Protective clothing is essential, and no eating and no drinking in that particular area. Okay, then coming to biosafety cabinet class 2, let us see what are the important features of that. This is a vertical airflow system, but remember, it has got recirculated air. Okay, so whatever air is flowing inside the cabinet from top to the down, okay, from the top of the cabinet or ceiling of the cabinet to the working surface, air is flowing in the form of a curtain. Okay, and whatever air is going out from that surface, that air, a part of that air is recollected. Okay, and it is again allowed to circulate and then come down from the top, from the filters. Now, what is the reason for that? Why is the air being recirculated? Probably one reason which I am going to tell you, you may like it or you may not like, okay? But one reason for recirculating the air is that since that air was already filtered, okay, it has come through the pre-filter, and then it has gone through the HEPA filter, and then it is going into the cabinet. Okay, if you compare that air with the other air which is outside, okay, ambient atmosphere, then probably one thing is clear, that this air is relatively much cleaner. Okay, although this air is flowing through the cabinet, okay, there is some material we are placing, we are working in that cabinet, we may be handling microbiological cultures. Okay, and therefore the air which is going out of the cabinet may carry microorganisms, isn't it? It is going to carry microorganisms. But if you compare the how clean that air is as compared to the outside air, then probably this air is much cleaner, and therefore you don't want that air to just go waste. Already clean air, isn't it? And therefore, even if you recirculate it, you are actually going to put lesser pressure or lesser load on the HEPA filters, isn't it? So your HEPA filters are going to have that clean air, already once cleaned air, and that is going to be recirculated. And therefore the HEPA filters will be actually protected. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now I have 10 minutes for this lecture. After 10 minutes, I'm not going to finish off with the lecture within 10 minutes, and therefore I want all of you to join again for the lecture. Okay, we'll continue for another, say, 20 minutes or so. Okay, so don't go anywhere. Okay.
Sure, sir.
Yeah. So then we will see what are the important features of the class 2 vertical airflow cabinet. Okay, so it is again a front opening cabinet. Okay, but the flow of air is from top to down, top to the surface, working surface. It is useful for handling human and primate cell lines because there is a possibility that the material may contain infectious agents which will infect human beings. Okay, and therefore we are going to use this kind of a laminar airflow cabinet. This is also equipped with UV light. Then it has HEPA filters. So these are common things for all the laminar airflow cabinet, especially which are used for microbiology work. Okay, and then look at this point here. Air is drawn in the sterile area through HEPA filter, and about 70 to 80% of that air which is flowing through the cabinet is recirculated. Okay, and that air will form an air curtain. This air curtain is something which will protect the operator because air is flowing from top to down. Okay, it is not coming over the face of the operator, and therefore the operator is protected. Okay, and then one more essential important thing is there, and that is it has got a filtered exhaust. What is the meaning of filtered exhaust? The air coming in is filtered through the HEPA filter that everybody knows. The air which is going out of that chamber, out of the cabinet, is also filtered through a HEPA filter. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there are two filters now, one at the top and one at the bottom, after the surface or below the surface, working surface. Okay, so air which is coming inside the cabinet is filtered, and air which is going out of the cabinet also is filtered. And therefore now I'm saying again that when the air is recirculated, it actually means that filtered air is recirculated again. Okay, and therefore
Yes, sir.
you can assure that the air which is coming into the cabinet is really very, very clean, isn't it? So there is one-time filtration at the top, second-time filtration at the bottom. Okay, and again that air, filtered air, is coming at the top, so there is third filtration and fourth filtration and so on. So the same air, when it is recirculated, the chances of having a really clean environment in the biosafety cabinet is actually assured, isn't it? Okay, then there is a front perspex cover, that is a glass is there, glass door, and the operator is looking through the glass inside the cabinet, and therefore it is preventing both the operator, it is protecting the operator on one hand, and on the other hand, the operator cannot breathe on the working surface. Okay, and therefore your material also is protected from the operator, right? Only the hands of the operator are inside, he is working in that area, but his face is covered. Okay, then this is how a vertical airflow cabinet would look like. This one is there. We have a similar kind of a biosafety cabinet in our department also. Okay, so whenever you get a chance to visit the department, you will be able to see this biosafety cabinet, and you may also be able to work in that biosafety cabinet. We also have ordinary horizontal type of laminar airflow cabinets in our department. Okay, so both the types of cabinets we have in the department. Okay, this is another image showing really a very sophisticated laboratory. This is actually a laboratory where I was working during the year, I think 2008 to 2005 to 2009. I was working in a private company in Mumbai, The company name was Yashraj Biotechnology Limited. And here we were working with cell lines, okay, animal tissue culture. And there I was using this biosafety cabinet. Okay. Then coming to other essential features of the biosafety level 3. Now this is again very important. There are two sets of self-closing doors in this facility. I'll just tell you how it is. Can you see this person? He's a scientist working in the animal tissue culture facility, Dr. Parab. Okay, and he is entering the tissue culture facility. So he has already entered from this one door. Can you see the blue colored door at the right hand side?
Yes, sir.
Can you see my
Yes, sir.
cursor?
Yes, sir.
Can you see my cursor moving?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So he has already entered from this door. Okay. And then on the left hand side, there is another door, blue colored door. So he has to enter that door again. Okay. And when he enters that door, then he will be able to enter. See, this is the tissue culture facility actually. Okay. So there is not just one door, but there are two doors through which he has to come inside. Okay. And not only that, but interestingly, these are self-locking doors. Okay. And automatic locking doors. So in fact, what happens is when he comes inside through this door, okay, while this door is open, he cannot open the second door. Okay. When one door is open, the other door cannot open. It will remain locked. Only when the first door closes properly and it gets locked, then the second door will open. Okay. Why that is there? That is to prevent any contamination. Okay. Now, when he enters this first door, there is a, in this particular small space here, he is supposed to wear the sterile clothes. Okay. So what he is wearing here, can you see that? It is a pullover gown and this is a one-piece gown. It is a one-piece gown. Okay. It is not a two-piece something attire, but a one-piece gown which is autoclaved, which is sterilized. Okay. So after he wears that, only then he can enter through the second door and come inside. Now, is that clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes, sir.
This person sitting here is Dr. Petkar. Okay. That is myself working in that facility. Okay. I'm doing ELISA assay. Okay. That is not there in your syllabus. So maybe sometime when we get free time, then I'll be able to tell you more about what is my expertise, what I have learned, and what you can learn from me. Okay. So I was telling you about these two sets of self-closing doors, then or self-locking doors. Then the complete room is sealed and it is washable. Now, if I'll show you this room again, can you see the walls here? These walls are actually coated with epoxide or epoxy resin. Okay. Even the floor of the room is coated with epoxy resin. Okay. And therefore it can be cleaned very easily. It is practically dust free. Okay. And it must be maintained dust free. So every time before starting the work, a person comes into the room, he cleans all the walls, he cleans the ceiling. Okay. He cleans the floor. Okay. The ceiling also is coated with epoxy. And only after thoroughly cleaning each and every surface in the room, then the authorized people will enter the room and then they will carry out their work. Okay. Then use of goggles and face shield or mask is essential. There are automatic taps or elbow taps on the sink. Now, what are these elbow taps? Do you know? Elbow taps?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Yes. Elbow taps are those which cannot be opened or closed with your fingers. Normally, you have taps in your house, isn't it? Or in the laboratory. In our laboratory also we have taps. Okay. So these water taps can be opened or closed like this with your fingers using your hand. Okay. But in this biosafety level 3, you cannot have such kind of taps but the taps are those which can be opened or closed with your elbows. Okay, this way. Can you see me in the video?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So with your elbows, you are going to